Amid the notorious malfunctioning of the government agencies, why does ISRO stand out as a rare, stellar organization with numerous accomplishments? What should the government learn from these accomplishments to infuse more competence in other agencies or public sector units? Very good question, Anmol. So, yes, compared to other government agencies, ISRO has performed very well. It is a very high achieving organization. It has accomplishments that have surpassed the accomplishments of other countries, of many other countries, etc. And I think the reason for this is that the government has not imposed an enormous amount of bureaucracy on ISRO. The scientists are allowed to take up projects that the government gives them, and they're allowed to basically carry out these projects without too much bureaucratic interference. Take the LCA Tejas project, the fighter jet project, which India has now completed, I would say. It's still evolving. We are creating better versions of the fighter jet, etc. But it took about 30 more than 3 decades to develop this fighter jet. And the reason for that is that the various governments kept on interfering. They would keep on changing the requirements of the fighter jet. So if the fighter plane was supposed to be, let's say, 15 meters long, some government agent would come and say no. Some government official would come and say no, now it has to be 15.5 meters long. So the entire thing has to be redesigned. Then they will say no, we need the wings to be this size or something or the other, because they were getting inducements from foreign companies and foreign countries to buy foreign weaponry. And that's why they kept on sabotaging the LCA Tejas project. And when a new government came in, and they decided to take the project to completion, to its natural logical conclusion, it happened. So our scientists, our engineers are very much capable of producing world class products. It's just that the government and the bureaucracy keeps interfering. And ISRO, I think, has not fallen victim to this too much, at least. So that's why it's able to do well. And yet I am disappointed with what ISRO is not being allowed to do. ISRO is a bunch of really talented people, brilliant scientists. As we know, they can do things and do brilliant things. So why is ISRO not being allowed to develop reusable rockets that land on the road? It will save so much money, right? Why don't we do it? Why isn't ISRO being allowed to develop more powerful rockets that can reach the moon in 3 days instead of 13 instead of three months? Why are we stuck at the PSLV and GSLV level? Why can't we have a rocket that's 10 times more powerful? Why can't we actually compete with the heavyweights like the Americans and the Russians or the Chinese? Why is ISRO not being allowed to develop better technology? It has the capability. If we can produce a PSLV and GSLV kind of rocket, it's actually trivial to multiply that by 10 and create a rocket that's 10 times more powerful. You just have to attach more boosters. And those boosters should ideally be reusable boosters. So ISRO has the capability to do this, but it's not being allowed to do it. So there is a lack of political will. And yet ISRO is actually a successful organization compared to, let's say, DRDO. So why do other organizations and agencies like DRDO fail? Why are they so mediocre? Even they have the same scientists, the same caliber of scientists. So what's going wrong? So let me tell you a story about DRDO. So DRDO was founded in the year 1958. And coincidentally, another agency was also founded in 1958. That was DARPA, DARPA. Let me show you the Wikipedia page for DARPA. Hang on. Just give me a second. Let me share that Wikipedia page. 1 second. All right. Here we are. This is called DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA. It's an American agency. It was founded, as you can see, in 1958, right? 63 years ago. And it has 220 employees, DARPA, and its budget is about $3.5 billion as of 2019. So this is one of the most brilliant agencies in the world. They have developed such incredible technology like the stealth aircraft and so much more. And there's so much technology they have developed which is still classified. It has not been announced to the world. They are the ones, I believe, who invented the internet, GPS, weather satellites, stealth technology, voice interfaces, the personal computer, the internet, etc., etc., etc. They have develop technology that's out of the world. Always they have been the leaders in technology development. So that's DARPA, 1958. Now let's take a look at DRDO, also 1958. So remember, DARPA has 220 employees with a budget of $3.5 billion roughly. Let's take a look at DRDO, also 1958. Their budget is about 1.6 billion, which is about half of DARPA, and they have 30,000 employees, out of which only 5,000 are scientists. Do you see the problem, my friends? Do you see the problem? DRDO has a similar kind of budget, but they have 30,000 employees, out of which only 5,000 are scientists, which means 25,000 are either bureaucrats or administrators or sweepers or peons or clerks or God knows what. So this scientific organization has been turned into an employment generation scheme for people who are not scientists. And still this budget which is going into it is called a scientific budget, even though the majority of it is spent on the salaries of these worthless, non-performing, non-scientific employees. I'm not saying they are worthless individuals, but they don't serve the organization and its purpose, its stated purpose. The stated purpose of DRDO is to produce scientific innovation for India, but its actual purpose is employment generation. So that's called corruption. Its actual purpose has been subverted. So this is the story of India. This is the story of India's government. They take everything and turn it into employment generation schemes in the hope of getting more votes, etc. And this thought process is that of mediocrity, and that is what is the problem with our leadership. And that's why India doesn't do well in science. So I think ISRO does better. It has a better structure and it has less government interference, and that's why it is doing well. So that is something that should be replicated in places like DARPA and other places as well, and then things will improve.